Okay, for this project, I am using Red Heart Super Saver, which is a worsted weight 4-ply acrylic yarn. But you can use any type of 4-ply yarn that you have. And this has 364 yards, and of course it didn't take me all this, so one skein of this would be enough. And then I'm using a size H, which is a 5mm crochet hook. Okay, you want to start with a long chain of 80. And when you get your chain of 80, you want to follow it down without twisting your chain. And we're going to slip stitch into the very first stitch to form one large ring. And then we're going to start by chaining 1. Now I'm going to work, and I'm going to be putting 1 single crochet in every stitch of this chain. We're actually working on the bottom of the bag, like from the bottom up, and what we'll do is we'll sew the ring together at the end. So I'm going to continue around putting 1 single crochet in every stitch, and when I get back around I need to count, and I need to still have a total of 80 stitches. Okay, once you make it all the way around and you count it and you have 80 stitches, you want to go ahead and slip stitch into your first single crochet, not that chain 1, but the first single crochet. And now we're going to start. Now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And that chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. So I'm going to put 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So double crochet into the next. And then again into the next. So counting that chain 3, there's 3 double crochets in a row. Now I'm going to skip a stitch, and then I'm going to do a puff V stitch into the next. So I'm going to skip that one and work in the next. I'm going to yarn over and go into that stitch. And I'm going to draw up a loop. I'm going to do that 4 times. So that was once, yarn over, go in, 2, yarn over, 3, yarn over, 4. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and go through all those loops on my hook. And I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to go back into that same stitch, and I'm going to do another puff stitch. I'm going to yarn over and go into that same one, drop a loop. I'm going to do that 4 times, so that was my first one. There's 2, 3, 4, 9 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through all the loops, and chain 1. So that is the puff V stitch. So now I'm going to skip the next stitch and double crochet into the next. Now I'm going to double crochet 5 times in a row. So that was my first one. Now I'm going to go to the next one and double crochet. So that's 2 double crochets. The next one, double crochet. The next one, double, and then the next one, double. So that's 5 double crochets in a row. Now I'm going to skip the next stitch and put the puff V into the next. So I'll go ahead and skip this stitch, and in the next one we'll work the puff V stitch. So we'll yarn over and drop a loop 4 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, go all through all the loops, chain 2, go back into the same stitch and do it again, 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, go through all the loops, and chain 1. So there we did it again. Now I'm going to skip the next one and double crochet into the next, and then again I want to put 5 double crochets in a row. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in a row. Now we're going to skip the next stitch and puff V-stitch into the next. So skip, working in this one, we're going to do a puff V-stitch. Chain 2. Chain 1, and then we skip the next and double crochet into the next one, and you want to do 5 in a row again. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip the next stitch and puff V into the next, and that is the repeat all the way around. Just like that, and then I'm going to do skip 1 and do my 5 double crochets. So I'm going to do this pattern all the way back around till I get near the beginning. Okay, when you make it all the way around, I just did my last puff V-stitch that would fit, and I chained 1, and I have 3 stitches left. You want to skip 1 and a double crochet into the last 2 like that. And then you slip stitch into the beginning, chain 3, and if you look, you did 2 double crochets here, and you had 3 double crochets from the beginning, so that equals the 5 double crochets that we've been putting in between. So that's how we do that. Now it's pretty easy from here on out. We're always going to chain 3 to start, and double crochet in each of these next 2 double crochets. Like that. Now we're going to put a puff V-stitch in the space in between this puff V-stitch. So we're going to yarn over and go right in the chain space and do another puff V-stitch. Chain 2, go back in and do my other one. Oops. And chain 1 to lock. Now I put 1 double crochet in each of these next 5 double crochets. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I'm going to puff V-stitch inside in the space in between this next puff V-stitch. double crochet in the next 5 double crochets, and that is the repeat actually from here on out for a while till we get this quite a bit taller. We're just going to keep going around repeating this row. And it'll start to look like this. The puff bee stitches are always going to be lined up, and there's always going to be the 5 double crochets in between. And then, you know, when we get here, we just slip stitch into that beginning chain 3, and start again. And we need to do several rows of this, and I'm not sure how many rows of this I'm going to do, so I'm going to keep working, and I'll let you know how many total rows I do in just 1 second. Okay, I went ahead and did a total of 14 rows of the puffs. From the bottom up, I have 14 rows of these of the puff bees. So now I just slip stitch into the top of my chain 3, and now I'm going to go around it with single crochet. So I'm going to chain 1, I'm going to go back into the exact same stitch that I just slip stitched into and single crochet, and then I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch, and then to the next, and then when I get to this area, I'm going to go right through this space and 1 single crochet, and then I'm going to put 1 single crochet in the middle of the V's, and then I'm going to put 1 single crochet right in between this puff and that double crochet, like that. And now I'm gonna, making sure I get this first one here, I'm gonna go ahead and work my way around, putting 1 double crochet, or 1 single crochet, I'm sorry, on the top of all these till I get to my next puff area. And I'm gonna go single crochet right through this space, single crochet 1 time in the middle, single crochet right here in between this puff and the next double crochet, and then starting with this very first double, I'm going to put single crochet in each stitch. And I'm just going to repeat this pattern all the way around back to the beginning. So right through here, single, right in the middle, single, and right in between these two, single, and then getting this very first one, and I'm going to continue around. Okay, once you make it back around, after that row of single crochet, to end it, you want to slip stitch into your first single crochet, not that chain 1 that you did, but the single crochet, and then you can clip your yarn and tie that off. Okay, now I'm going to switch colors, and I'm going to work on the top and the bottom. I'm going to do them both in a different color than this yellow. So I'm going to start up here at the top first. So I'm going to take my new color, and you can start anywhere you want on the top in any stitch. I'll probably just start somewhere over here by where I left off. And just go ahead and start your yarn. By doing a chain 1, and then I'm going to go back into the exact same stitch and single crochet. And what I'm going to do is 6 single crochets in a row, and then I'm going to do a single crochet decrease. So there's my first single crochet. I'm going to go to the next stitch. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 6. And now I'm going to do a single crochet decrease over the next 2 stitches. So I'm going to go into the next stitch and draw up a loop, and then I'm going to go into the next one after that and draw up a loop, and I'll have 3 loops on my hook. I want to yarn over and go through all 3 loops. So that took those 2 stitches and made it into 1. Now I'm going to do 6 single crochets in a row again. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now I'm going to do a single crochet decrease over the next 2 stitches. So I'm going to go into the next stitch and draw up a loop, and then the next one and draw up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3 loops. And now I'm going to do 6 single crochets in a row again. And then a single crochet decrease. Just like that. So I'm going to repeat that pattern all the way back around to the beginning. Okay, when you make it back around, after that row of decreases, I ended in a decrease, but if you didn't, don't worry about it. It's not going to be that big of a deal. Now you're going to want a stitch marker of some sort, so I'm just going to put it right here, and now I'm going to do several rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch. So I'm just going to jump on over here to that first single crochet and single crochet in it, and now I'm going to work my way around, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch. Until I get back to my stitch marker. And then when I get back to my stitch marker, I'm just going to pull it out and move it up, and I'm going to go around again with another row of 1 single crochet in every stitch. I'm not quite sure how many rows I'm going to do of that, so I'm just going to continue doing a few rounds of 1 single crochet in every stitch, and I'll let you know here in just a second how many total rows I do. Okay, I made it back around, and I went ahead and did 3 rows of 1 single crochet in every stitch. So counting the first decrease row, we'll have a total of 4 rows here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then when you make it back to your stitch marker, I'm just going to go ahead and go into that next stitch and slip stitch. And then I'm going to tie this off, and you can take your stitch marker out now because you don't need it right now. I'm going to clip that off and hide that tail. Okay, now I'm going to work on the bottom. So I'm going to flip my work over, and you can work in any spot that you want. I'll probably just start kind of the similar spots that I started before. And now I'm just going to do some rounds of single crochet down here. I'm not going to do any decrease rounds, just regular rounds. My yarn's all knotted up. Okay. And just pick a stitch to start in. And chain 1. Go back into that same stitch, single crochet. And now I'm just going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around. Trying to hide them tails too as I go. I hate sewing in tails. So just like that, all the way around your whole bottom of your piece until you get back to the beginning. Okay, when you make it back around, after that 1 row of 1 single crochet in every stitch, you're going to need a stitch marker again. I'm going to put it right here, and I'm going to jump right over to that first single crochet, and not the chain 1, but the single crochet, and single crochet in it. And now I'm going to work my way around again, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch. Okay, I went ahead and did 4 rows of single crochet, 4 rounds single crochet on the bottom, and I made it back to my stitch marker. Now what I'm going to do is slip stitch into the next stitch and take out that stitch marker and tie this off. I'll hide that tail later, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it back over. So I have my top up here. Now I'm going to line it up so I can sew the bottom together. And I'm going to flip it a wrong side out to sew my bottom. So I have my bottom flipped, or I have it flipped, the whole piece flipped wrong side out. Now I'm going to line it up here. You want 5 rows of these puff stitches in the front, like I have. Get it all straightened out here. And then just about equal numbers on the ends. You can see how I have, it's like 2 or 3 double crochets left on each side. That way it's even on both sides, and that's what you want. So once you get it all lined up, look like that, we'll sew it up on the bottom. And you can kind of sew it up any way you want. I think I'll slip stitch it together. So, I mean, you can use a yarn needle if you want to, but okay, I'm going to turn it back over. So now my bottom's up here. And what I'm going to do is just grab a piece on this side and a piece on the opposite side. Pull my yarn through, chain 1. I'm going to go to the next stitch and then the next stitch on the back piece too, and slip stitch. The next stitch on the back piece, pull it through and slip stitch. The next stitch on the back piece, pull it through and slip stitch. If you wanted to use single crochet here, you could, or a yarn needle or whatever, but pull it through, or go into the next stitch on the back. Oops. Pull it through and slip stitch. And I'm going to do this all the way down until my bottom is completely sewed up. Okay, I made it to the end after I slip stitched it all together. So now I'm going to clip my yarn, tie it off, and I'm going to flip it right side out again. So now my bottom will be all sewed up. Okay, now I'm going to work on the handles. Now you can put any kind of handle that you want on it. You can put 2 handles, 1 handle, you can buy handles. I encourage you to do it whatever you like best. You do not have to be anything like mine. 1 long one, 1 short one, 2 long ones, 2 short ones. It's completely up to you. But if you want to do handles like me, I'll show you how I'm doing it. You're going to need 4 stitch markers. So what I did is I got my piece laid out flat to where the front side is facing me. And I pick it up here in the corner and I start counting. With the very corner stitch right here, count over, counting that very corner stitch, count over 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I put a stitch marker. And then I'm going to do the same on the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and put a stitch marker. And then I'm going to come over here to the other side and do the same thing. I'm going to find my corner stitch here, count over 10 stitches and put my stitch marker in the 10th stitch. Then I'm going to start with that same stitch again on the back, count over 10 stitches and put my stitch marker in the 10th stitch. So now that's where I'm going to put my handles. So now I'm going to start right over here into the corner. Doesn't have to be exact, just somewhere over here in the corner. And I'm going to chain 1 and go back in that same stitch and single crochet. Now I'm going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch until I get to my first stitch marker. and I'm going to single crochet into the stitch that has the stitch marker. So I'm going to single crochet into it, and then I'm going to take the stitch marker out because I don't need it anymore. Now I'm going to do a chain. Of 15. And then I'm going to stretch it over here to the next stitch marker and single crochet into that stitch that the marker's in and take out that stitch marker. Now I'm going to put one single crochet in every stitch until I get to my next stitch marker, and then I'll do my chain again. Oops. Single crochet in the stitch that the next stitch marker's in. Take it out then. And I'm going to chain 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I'm going to stretch it over again just like I did and single crochet into the next stitch marker space. Take that stitch marker out. Now I'm going to continue single crocheting until I get back to my starting point. And then you're going to need another stitch marker here, so just so you can remember where you end and where you begin. Okay, when you make it back to the beginning, you can stick a stitch marker here, and then just jump over and single crochet into that first single crochet, not the chain one, and then work one single crochet in every stitch until you get to your chain. And when you get to your chain, you want to do one single crochet for every stitch of the chain. Since we did 15 chains, we're going to have 15 single crochets. I'm actually just going to go right through the chain and do it. It just looks better that way. And it's okay if they're real close together, you can spread them out. But you need to do 15 single crochets through the chain. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And then, like I said, they're going to be kind of clumped up. Just kind of spread them out, and they'll spread out better as you add more. Go around them again. But then once you get your 15 on there, you want to go ahead and single crochet over here, back again in the first stitch here, like that, and then work around, putting one single crochet in every stitch until you get to your next chain. And when you get to your next chain, you just put your 15 single crochets through the chain, 15 single crochets through this chain, and then single crochet back around to your starting point. Okay, when you make it back to your stitch marker again, now I'm going to go around, I'm going to move my stitch marker up, and I'm going to go around one more time with putting one single crochet in every single stitch. So I got my stitch marker moved up, and I'm just going to go and single crochet into the next single crochet, and then one single crochet in every stitch around, including the single crochets that are across the handle. It's going to make your handle thicker. So here's my handle. I'm just going to continue putting 1 single crochet in every stitch of the handle too. Just like this. And I'm going to do that all the way around and across the other handle and back to my starting point. And once you make it back around, after that row of single crochet, I'm not going to make my handles any thicker. But if you want to go around again, you can. It's really depends on how thick you want your handles. But remember, every row that you make your handles thicker, it's going to make this brim thicker too. So that's completely up to you. But I made it back to my stitch marker, and I'm just going to slip stitch into that next stitch and tie this off. I'm going to hide all my tails, take that stitch marker out, and I will be finished. And that is all I'm going to do to this bag. So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial, and I hope you were able to follow along okay. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you make this or anything else, I'd really love to see a picture of it. You can post a picture on my Bagoday Crochet Facebook page. I'll put a link to that below in the description box. And until next time, have a good day.